Now, having entered my field names, my data types, and my descriptions, which are optional, in the table design, I now wish to look at what my table actually looks like to the user. So up here in the top left corner of your ribbon, you have a View button. If I click the View button, I'll be able to view the data sheet. Now, because I haven't saved the table, it will ask me, do you want to save? And I should say yes, otherwise I'll lose everything. So I'll say yes. It then wants a name for the table. Now, the thing with objects and access is the larger the database gets, the more objects there are. And the names of those objects start sounding very, very similar because they're all trying to serve a certain purpose relating to employees or orders or products. So to organize objects into tables, I like to prefix TBL and then employee. Again, no S and no spaces. It just means that when you've got a list of tables or queries, which are often the foundation for reports, etc., they will be organized alphabetically, and all your tables will be together because they all start with TBL, and all your queries will be together because we're going to start them or prefix them with QRY. It really just does make it easier to identify objects if they've got that 3-letter prefix in front of them. So it's a habit I'd recommend. So I'm just going to go OK. Now immediately this message comes up, and basically Access is saying I haven't made one of these fields a primary key field, and it highly recommends that I do, and we will, but I don't want to do it yet. So I'm going to ask it, I'm going to say no, I don't want it to do it, I will do it later. So by saying no, I'm then immediately thrown into my table in Datasheet view. This is Datasheet view. I can also see in my navigation pane that I do have a table called TBL employee. I'll just move that over. I can see my fields are in fact column headings. So here's my employee ID. And the idea here is that this is an auto number, so I don't type anything. I'm just going to press tab and come across to title courtesy. Now here I'd like to put Mr. because it is a Mr. and immediately the auto number will go to 1, and that's automatically given him a unique number. And here's the pencil, meaning that this record is currently under edit mode or under construction and hasn't been saved. I tab across to first name, and this is Joe. I tab across to last name, this is Blogs, extremely creative, and the job title is Sales. Oops, Sales. And I tab across to birth date. Now the first field employee ID was an auto number, hence it's 1. The next 4 were text, so we just typed what we wanted. Birth date is in fact a date time field, that's its data type. So a date time field naturally shows a date picker, which is very, very handy for certain types of dates. So that's available because it's a date time. But because his birth date was some time ago, I'm actually going to type 1/1/60, and that's probably the quickest way that you can enter the 1st of the 1st 1960. And then I'll tab across to higher date. It automatically formats the birth date as a short date, and now I have to enter a higher date, which is 1-1-80, 1st of the 1st 1980. And then I'll tab across, and again it formats it to a short date. Now as far as an address, this is just a text field, so I'm just going to type some text in here. I'll leave address line 2 vacant because it's not applicable, and I'll type Rotorua as the town or city. Now when it comes to the home phone, I want the area code, so I'm going to go 0754, 574 9074. I'll follow the notes. So you just type in. Now because home phone is a text field, we're allowed a leading 0, and it won't drop it, and then I tab across to email. Now email is a hyperlink, so when I type joe@extra.co.nz, it's naturally blue and underlined, and it's naturally a hyperlink, which means that if I clicked it, it would run off and create a new email addressed to joe@extra.co.nz, which I don't want to do. Now salary is a currency field, and it's appearing already as $0, so I just type a number, 4 and 4 zeros. And when I press enter, it formats it automatically to a currency, so that's a currency data type. Now married was a yes/no field, that was its data type, so if I hit the space bar I'm saying yes, and if I hit the space bar I'm saying no. You can just as equally use your mouse, so don't be afraid to do that, but I'm just going to hit the space bar and say yes. When I tab across to dependent, this is a number field, hence why the 0 is showing. Number fields automatically show a 0. You can also see number fields show a 0 here, yes/no fields show this, currency fields show this, so you can see the defaults showing down here. Dependent is actually children, and the number of children that Joe has is 2, so we put 2 in there. Photo is actually an Olay object. If I had a photo, I could copy and paste it in. I could either right click and insert an object and choose a particular photo that I wanted to either from file and browse and go and get that photo and insert it. But I'll just leave it for now. But that's how you would go and grab a photo. Just right click and insert a photo or just paste it. So I'll cancel that. And notes was in fact long text, so I could just type lots and lots of text up to 65,536 characters if I wanted to. And lastly, the last field here, or the last column, is in fact the attachment field. And so if I was to double click that, I would be able to add as many attachments I can add, and I can run off and get PDF files, I can run off and get Word documents, Excel files, any sort of files that I automatically want to attach to this particular record. So that's how that works. And then as soon as I press enter or tab past that, I go down to the next row. The pencil's disappeared in the record selector area, which means that that record is now saved. So as soon as you move from one record to another, it automatically saves. So our table is created. And we could stop there and leave it at that. But I think there's a lot of room for improvement still. So to improve this table, we need to get back to Design View. And so the View button to the very, very left of the ribbon is called View. That will by default throw me into Design View. So I can go back to Design View or I can go back to Datasheet View. So we click this button to switch between designing, designing, and testing. You could hit the drop down and you can choose Datasheet View or Design View, but it just naturally gives you the opposite view or opposing view. Whenever you're sitting in Design, you see Datasheet. Whenever you're sitting in Datasheet, you see Design. So very, very handy.